control. What a seductive illusion it is. We reach for it, we fight for it, and when it comes to matters of the heart, we clutch at it like a drowning man grasping for air. But what if I told you that the very act of holding tighter to a person, to love, to connection, was the thing that sent it slipping through your fingers like grains of sand? It is a paradox, is it not? The closer you move towards an avoidant, the further they retreat. The more you prove your devotion, the colder their touch becomes. It's maddening, yes, but not without reason. Today, dear listener, we shall explore this peculiar dance, the one between the seeker and the sought, the one where intimacy is feared as much as it is longed for. And perhaps, just perhaps, by the end of our conversation, you will understand why the greatest gift you can give an avoidant is, in fact, the space to breathe. I once knew a man, a scholar of literature, a man of taste and refinement. Let's call him Edward, a man with a fortress around his heart so high, even the birds grew tired trying to circle it. Edward was a man who, by all appearances, was immune to affection. He hosted dinners, he discussed poetry, he even tolerated the occasional embrace. But real closeness? No, that was something he would not permit. Then, of course, came the woman. Isn't it always? She was radiant in that unassuming way that makes the soul ache just a little. Let's call her Miranda. She saw something in him, or at least, she thought she did. She believed, as many do, that love is a matter of effort, that if one simply loved enough, gave enough, proved enough, then surely the gates of the fortress would open. So she stayed. She stayed when he withdrew. She reached for him when he turned away. She wrote long, heartfelt letters. He would respond with a sentence, maybe two. She sent gifts. He would thank her politely, set them aside, and when his silence stretched too long, she would rush to close the gap, convinced that her warmth would melt the ice. But ice does not melt under pressure. It cracks. One day, Edward disappeared, vanished like a ghost in the fog. No words, no farewell. Just gone. She wept. She asked why. She cursed the heavens for the cruelty of it all. But what she did not know, what most do not understand, is that it was not her love he fled from. It was the weight of it. You see, an avoidant does not retreat because they do not care. Oh no, that is the cruelest misinterpretation of them all. They retreat because they care too much, because deep down, they know that love, once welcomed in, demands something of them. And for an avoidant, that demand, connection, vulnerability, surrender, is terrifying. They have spent a lifetime guarding themselves against such things. To love is to risk. To risk is to lose control. And to lose control is to invite pain. This, dear listener, is why they feel safer when you take a step back. Not because they want to be rid of you, but because closeness feels, to them, like standing too close to the fire. Warm at first, yes, but soon unbearable. There is an old saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder. How quaint, and yet, for the avoidant, distance does not just grow fondness, it grows safety. It allows them to breathe, to think, to remember in their own time why they were drawn to you in the first place. Consider this. A cat in a room full of doting hands will flee. Too much affection, too much pursuit, and it will hide beneath the furniture, waiting for solitude to reclaim it. But sit still, ignore it even, and soon enough, the cat will find its way back, curling around your feet, pretending it was their idea all along. An avoidant is much the same. The more you pursue, the more you overwhelm. The more you push, the more they feel caged. But step back. Give them space, and something miraculous happens. They return, not because they were forced, not because they were chased, but because they finally chose to. You see, most people believe that love is something you prove, that the louder you proclaim it, the deeper it will be felt. But avoidants do not respond to volume. They respond to silence. You may think, if I stop trying, they'll forget me. But that is not how it works. An avoidant does not forget. They notice everything, every shift, every absence, every moment you are not where they expected you to be. And in that silence, in that stillness, something stirs within them. A whisper that says, "Where did they go? Why do I miss them?" You see, the beauty of taking a step back is that it forces the avoidant to make a choice. And that choice, their choice, is the only thing that can ever make them feel safe. Now, I must be clear. To step back does not mean to abandon. To give space does not mean to play cruel games of distance and detachment. No, that is manipulation, and an avoidant will sense it a mile away. Instead, think of it as an invitation rather than an insistence, a soft presence rather than an encroaching demand. Like an artist who knows the power of empty space in a painting, you must understand that love is not always about filling the air with words, but knowing when to leave space between them. Give them the room to come closer. Let them reach for you. Let them choose you. Because if they do, if they take even the smallest step forward, it is worth more than 1,000 forced confessions. So, dear listener, I leave you with this. If you love an avoidant, do not chase them. Do not smother them with words or with proof or with promises. Love is not something to be forced into another's hands. It is something you place gently at their feet and wait. Step back, not as an act of punishment, not as a game, but as an act of trust. Trust that if what you have built together is real, they will find their way to you, not out of obligation, not out of fear, but because they finally feel safe enough to stay. And in love, my dear friends, safety is everything. But what do I know? I am merely a man who has seen a thing or two. Now, if you've enjoyed this little excursion into the mind of the avoidant, do consider subscribing. There is much more to be uncovered, many more secrets of the heart to be explored. And if you believe someone you know might need to hear this, well, perhaps now is the time to take a step back and let them find it on their own. Until next time, stay curious, stay patient, and above all, stay wise.
If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need.